try to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the diet and he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez cannot survive against Terence Crawford, pointing to the loss of energy and sharpness Canelo once possessed and expressing disappointment in his current state. In contrast, Jones praised Crawford's determination, focus, and elite skills, stressing that weight difference will not be a deciding factor, as Crawford's technique, timing, and ring IQ can neutralize any size advantage. He warned that facing a fighter as skilled and relentless as Crawford will expose Canelo's present limitations, making the matchup far more dangerous than many expect.
It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. Yeah. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
Yeah. You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter.
Roy Jones warns that if Canelo enters the fight overconfident, assuming victory over Terence Crawford is guaranteed, he risks a harsh reality check. He stresses that underestimating Crawford's skill and strategy could leave Canelo facing a tough and potentially punishing outcome. Punishing defeat in the ring.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones has voiced his confidence that Terence Crawford will defeat Canelo Alvarez, highlighting Crawford's disciplined approach to moving up in weight. Unlike many fighters who add size recklessly, Crawford has gained weight through careful planning and precise execution, maintaining his speed and agility with the right diet, conditioning, and relentless training. According to Jones, this methodical preparation makes the fight a win-win situation for Crawford.
Grit, and me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that like, I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And it, I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the diet and he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win. So
you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on.
While the physical challenge of facing a bigger opponent is real, Jones believes Crawford's skills, discipline, and commitment will allow him to adapt seamlessly. He stresses that Crawford isn't adding weight just for size, but is building his body to carry it efficiently without sacrificing the speed, agility, and sharpness that make him so dangerous. For Jones, this fight is a testament to a disciplined athlete pushing his limits and proving he can rise to the occasion against one of boxing's most formidable champions.
The nutrition, like I said, the training, Crawford, he trains hard. So I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know, like we discussed earlier, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th, against Blanco, and it's actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has taken note of Crawford's transformation, especially his increased size ahead of this bout. Malignaggi sees this added mass as a major advantage rather than a drawback, noting that Crawford has bulked up without losing the quickness, footwork, and timing that define his style. He pointed out that many fighters moving up in weight often lose their sharpness, becoming slower and less mobile, but Crawford has avoided those pitfalls.
Listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, So there's times where it affects, and there's times where I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're going to be sparring with this added weight. You're going to be doing the boxing training with this added weight. So you're going to know how to, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up, and you get big, and then you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're gonna feel it.
Crawford seems to have found the ideal balance, adding the strength and durability needed to face a naturally bigger opponent like Canelo, while preserving the agility essential to his style. Malignaggi credits this to Crawford's professionalism and meticulous training, noting that his physical growth enhances rather than hinders his skill set. In his view, Crawford can perform at his peak despite the jump in weight, and may even gain an edge from the added power when dealing with relentless pressure.
Wait. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said. You're going to put on weight. You're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself. As I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym. It just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight. We see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not be.
Renowned boxing analyst Max Kellerman has delivered a sharp technical breakdown of the Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez matchup, highlighting Crawford's jab as one of the most precise and effective weapons in boxing today, fast, and capable of dictating a fight's rhythm. While Canelo once had a similarly sharp jab earlier in his career, Kellerman noted it has declined in recent years, giving Crawford a clear edge in range control and point scoring. Beyond the jab, he praised Crawford's tactical intelligence, calling him a fighter who adjusts in real time and seizes openings others might miss.
First attribute, best jab. Crawford. Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman acknowledged that, despite his last fight, Canelo has improved significantly at cutting off the ring. However, he contrasted this with Canelo's frequent reliance on natural size, strength, and power to overwhelm smaller opponents. In his view, if Crawford can disrupt Canelo's forward momentum and turn the bout into a battle of strategy, the tactical edge will swing heavily in Crawford's favor. This blend of technical precision and high fight IQ, Kellerman believes, is one of Crawford's most valuable weapons heading into the clash.